Would everyone please join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilman Foley,
Here.
Councilman Oxford, Councilman Rikers,
Here.
Councilman Flutie,
Here.
and Mayor Hicks.
Here. Okay, we have a quorum. We'll move forward. Has everybody had a chance to look at the agenda? Is there any corrections or addition to this agenda? Seeing none, do I have a motion to go ahead and accept the agenda as read?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll move on to approval of last month's minute or last meeting's minutes on May 6th. Everybody had a chance to read it. Is there any additions or corrections need to be made to those?
I know it's not a question for the public. There's a correction that needs to be done for, South Central. The ambulance, these were yesterday for May 19th, not June.
Page 5. Bottom.
Okay. Thank you. And that was in Elk Mountain?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any other corrections or additions need to be made to these minutes? Do I have a motion to pass the minutes from the May 6th meeting with one correction of May 19th, 2025 on the Medical Service Board's meeting?
I'll make the motion with that one correction.
Have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We'll move on to approval of the bills. And we had deposits in the amount of $265,905.63. Accounts payable in the amount of $173,175.36. Transmittals in the amount of $53,818.62. And payroll in the amount of $52,219.16. Questions? Do you have a motion to approve the financial report and pay the bills?
I'll make a motion to approve the bills, pay them.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll move on to correspondence. And I was gonna have the assistant clerk read this letter, but since you're here, Mr. Wood, would you like to address this?
You really want to subject the public to my voice twice?
Sure. Sure. So you need a copy of the,
I've got it on my phone.
okay.
Mayor Davis and members of the Saratoga Town Council. For years, Saratoga has slowly grown as a tourist destination. That growth seems to have increased in the past 5 years, leading to nearly year-round traffic on Wyoming 130 or First Street. The intersection at First Street and Bridge Avenue is beginning to become a risk to health and safety. While the crosswalks and the limited parking on either side of First Street is a start, it's only a start. During the winter, trucks with enclosed trailers parking alongside First Street create a line of sight issue when entering from East Bridge Avenue. Specifically, lifted trucks also contribute to this line of sight issue throughout the year. While the crosswalks at this intersection are an improvement, I will often find myself waiting for traffic to either come to a stop or for there to be no traffic at all before I cross. Even then, an occupied crosswalk doesn't necessarily stop traffic, as there have been drivers who go through if one side of the crosswalk isn't occupied while the other is. Further, I've seen on more than one instance drivers using an occupied crosswalk as an opportunity to merge onto First Street. This is inviting a vehicle on pedestrian incident. Vehicle on vehicle incidents are also a concern. More than once, I've crossed my fingers and hit the gas to merge onto First Street when I couldn't see oncoming traffic due to large trucks or trailers parked along the highway. I would like to make the following suggestions to the Saratoga Town Council. 1, contact the Wyoming Department of Transportation for a traffic study at the intersection of First Street and Bridge Avenue to determine if there is need for traffic lights. 1A, even if traffic lights aren't viable, perhaps consider dynamic pedestrian crossing signs. Point 2, consider signage encouraging recreational vehicles and enclosed trailers to park in the municipal parking lot or at the Platte Valley Community Center. I understand that the town of Saratoga has many other issues it is dealing with on a daily basis. However, the safety of both residents and tourists is paramount. It would be better for our town to be proactive on an issue like this instead of waiting for loss of life and reacting to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Josh,
We'll open this up for discussion. Has there ever been a traffic study on that intersection that you're aware of? Chief?
I'm aware of, no.
Okay.
But there was at one point in time a traffic light at that intersection.
What year did it go away?
It was there from the forties till, you're on site here, but I heard you know, like 52.
Okay.
Because then they got tired of replacing it because the loggers hated it, so they were stacking the trucks too tall and taking it down.
Okay.
pesky old loggers anyway.
I do know it's a bad intersection. Do we have the authority to put no parking on either side of that?
We'd have to check with YDOT for sure on their regulations, as that is the state highway coming through.
Mhm.
I don't think there'd be an issue with restricting the parking there. Because it would not really be changing access as far as YDOT's concerned for the controlled highway.
Okay. Well, with the council's permission, I'd like to direct you to get in touch with YDOT.
Okay.
Run some of these by, see if they can do what the process is for a traffic study. Have them come over and look at it. And look at some remedies. Yeah,
Remedies, I can do that.
yeah, remedies, that would. But anyway, can you, the council in favor of that? Yeah. We'll look at it
Mhm.
and go from there. And you can report back when we find out some more information.
Most of Mr. Wood's statements and options in there have actually been thinking about looking into, and I spoke to Emery about a couple different options for that intersection.
Okay, great. All right. Any other discussion on this matter? Okay, thanks, Josh. We'll move on. To items from the public, and we have a street closure application for the Saratoga Elementary Color Run. And John, you want to talk a little bit about this because you know what it entails.
Yeah, I believe last year was the first time we actually did the street closure for the color run. It will start at the elementary school driveway. The street closure is gonna run from Fourth and Spring to the entranceway of the community center parking lot, so Second-ish and Spring. And it only lasts for a couple hours. It's for the students to complete the run, and this year it's open to other participants. It basically goes from elementary school up around the parking lot of the community center and back to the elementary school.
Do you have any issues with this?
No, we did it last year also with no incidents.
Okay. Are you guys responsible for seeing that the road's closed for them, or do they
Get a
put?
hold of Eugene for that part, and then we go over and sit on a couple of the intersections to make sure that you have a presence also for it.
Do I have a motion from the council to go ahead and accept this street closure? It's set for 1 PM to 3:15 PM on 5/28 of 25.
I'd make the motion to go ahead and accept this closure application.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll move on to Ms. Myers with the Saratoga Library.
Good evening, Councilman, Mayor.
Hey.
I brought my facts and figures list again in case you guys didn't hold on to that from the last time I was here. And I realized by looking at your agenda that the ship may have already sailed on this, but for the last, I will persist. Since I last spoke with you gentlemen, the Saratoga Friends of the Library has contributed $1,000 towards the Saratoga Branch Library, which is, we greatly appreciate. And I've also learned from my discussions with the executive director that while I came here last time saying that we would really appreciate these direct expenditures, that's the top block. We would also actually be we would be open to any dollar amount of anything at all. Because what we do have are, and I didn't really discuss this last time, but all these things under indirect expenditures are costs that we need and that are part of the library system overall. And the way that she's broken them down is depending on the size of the collection. So Saratoga has one of the largest collections outside of the Rollins branch. Therefore, the indirect expenditures are proportionately a little bit higher for Saratoga than they are for, say, Encampment. That branch costs about $59,000 to run, whereas this one costs $118,000 according to our budget request. We did submit that request, and we have already heard from the county commissioners that everybody should expect less than what they asked for, which isn't a surprise to us. So we're expecting to have to cut some things, but we don't really have much room to cut. There's not a lot of fat in our budget. We don't pay for the materials that we provide for the library. That's kind of the one discretionary expense that libraries can move on from year to year, whereas we can't change the cost of our liability insurance, for example. We just have to pay those costs, and they are set by sometimes statute and outside agencies that we don't really have any control over, like the Wild System consortium fee. That gives us access to the entire catalog of all the library materials in the state so that users can get interlibrary loan books from anywhere in the state. So
I have a couple of questions on your phone and your internet. Is that 792 for the year, or is that per month
oh no, that's for the year.
for the year?
Yeah, no, all of these costs are the annual costs. So and when you look at them that way, you realize that some of them are actually pretty modest, at least compared to, what we would expect from our own utilities and such like that. I do hear that the other municipalities who we have also approached are kind of waiting on each other to see what happens. So I think everybody's waiting for another municipality to make the first move and base their donation, if anything, on that. With that, I would ask that the Saratoga Town Council consider a donation of maybe $5,000. I don't know if that's even available, given your budget is already up for its first reading today. But that would go a long way towards encouraging the other municipalities to step up and contribute to the system that they enjoy the benefits of. Because Saratoga is the largest branch, that contribution would make the most impact for optics, I guess, if you want to look at it that way. So
Wouldn't it kind of work out better though if we covered a couple more expenses, or at least one, like the phone or the internet, materials, supplies?
yes, absolutely. That would be wonderful. We would accept anything, any amount whatsoever. But it's hard for us to put a dollar amount on it because
Sure, you don't know for sure.
and we wouldn't say no to any amount, so it doesn't really matter. It's really more what the town can afford. So I just would, once again, ask that the town consider making a donation to the library for this year. We will revisit this all again next year and hopefully our financial picture will change for the better, but we can't promise that. We're just continuing to lock it down and try and squeeze as much as we can out of this system. So, thank you.
Okay, thank
Any
you.
other questions?
Have you tried to see about donations, like maybe from Brush Creek or somebody?
We have mostly explored that with Sinclair, but it's kind of difficult given that the Sinclair branch was closed last year. So, I don't know, I can't speak to that directly, but I would definitely bring that up with the director as an opportunity.
Yeah, I think we have a couple of places that would. I think Brush Creek's wanting, from what I gather, talking with them, they're wanting to be part of the valley.
Okay.
And, you know, I think that's a possibility, possibly even the Saratoga Resort
Or the mail?
or the sawmill,
Yeah,
Gary.
those are great, excellent ideas.
We will definitely take this under consideration and,
Thank you.
When will you find out what you're getting, what you're,
That I cannot say. The director has a much better fix on those dates.
well, it'd be easier when you're asking to know how much,
Right, how much.
what your shortfall's gonna be.
Right, we will definitely let the towns know when our budget is issued so that we can make the changes that we have.
have you seen a preliminary budget?
I have not.
Okay.
I believe they just submitted them a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
So it's way too early to tell.
I believe the county is on the same timeline we are. Their fiscal year ends June 31st, correct? I believe so. So. Okay,
Thank you.
well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any more discussion on this tonight? Okay. We'll move on to Mr. Woods again with Saratoga Beautification Committee. Thanks, sir.
Drop one off from Mr. Oxley.
Okay.
All right, so, hi, nice to see you again. It's been a long time. So I think most of you on the council are aware of the placemaking committees that were formed around the county through Discover Carbon County. So the Saratoga Proud Beautification Committee is a bit of a subcommittee off of this interest group. The point behind it was, one of the points behind it was looking at ways in which we can beautify Saratoga and very much beginning with sweat equity and elbow grease. So there's been a couple meetings of this beautification committee. One of the things that we looked at was what are some high visibility areas that tourists tend to see that need a little bit of TLC. Fortunately, former Councilwoman Kathy Beck had a list of about 12 locations around Saratoga. The committee picked about 6 of these. As you see on the handout that I handed you, those 6 locations are Veterans Island, Hot Pool, the boat launch area Hot Pool boat launch area, downtown Saratoga, Catholic Globe Park, and Saratoga Lake Playground. And so as we were talking about what's the best way to really get out there and 1, let people know that this committee is here, but 2, begin working on trying to get community involvement, was planning a cleanup day. Now, obviously we missed the boat on the Saratoga cleanup day that UPRSWDD does every year, but we thought that a Sunday after church would be a nice day to do that. Most people usually don't have plans on those Sundays. They've done their activities on Saturday. And so on Sunday, June 1st, from 1 to 4, we will be having cleanup at these 6 locations. We will begin at the Hot Pool parking lot, gather there, and the members of the committee who have selected these parts or pointed out that these parts need some TLC will help clean up. And it doesn't have to be, no one has to be there for the full 3 hours. A little bit of time here and there helping out would be great. One of the members of our committee, Susan March, has already come in to talk to Emery about some help from the town on that one. Just more in terms of helping out with the disposal of any of the bags of refuse or the bags of refuse that we, will likely have after that. But the reason we're here is twofold. One, to let people know that we are here, but two, along with inviting the community to this, we would like to specifically invite members of the council to come that Sunday and help clean up as well. Be able to work alongside your constituents with a little bit of elbow grease and stuff like that, and any help you might be able to provide. So. Cindy, did I get about everything? Yes. And Kim Heidreck was very, very helpful in this. She was able to get a number of donations, trash bags, rakes, wheelbarrow beaters, I believe. And even some paint from Shively's. So, we have sort of along with this initial cleanup, we have a long range plan, which we will be talking with Emery about what the town already has planned and what they're doing, but working in conjunction with Emery and the streets department to make sure that we're not doubling efforts or being redundant on anything. Any questions, comments? Can we RSVP you guys right now?
I think it's a good idea. We can, we will provide the pickup, right?
Yeah.
Of the garbage bag and everything. Okay. Is there anything else that we could possibly provide in kind?
Just your smiling faces on that Sunday.
Okay. Well, something I will ask, I will get a hold of the chamber and see if we can advertise it on the board out here,
Thank you very much.
and we'll take care of that.
All right.
All right?
Thank you.
What dates?
Oh,
It's Sunday, June 1st, 2025, from 1 to 4. I don't think we need to pass a motion or anything. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you. Thank you, guys. Okay. Okay, we'll move on to a special event application for the farmer's market. Miss Marie.
Good evening, Councilman and Mayor. I am proposing for the farmer's market that we had last summer to be on Saturdays in June, July, and August from 10 to 2. I am trying to get vendors to have booths along the sidewalk in the park next to my building, Hat Creek Park, because I own 2/3 of that, and then also in front of the mural as well. And then I would also like permission for parking cones to block off the parking spaces in front of my shop so that the food trucks can park in front of my shop, and that way we won't have to close down the street. I also would have the parking or the food trucks parked to where the customers are on the sidewalk so that we don't have a safety issue. No one gets run over or anything. And I'm just hoping it'll be a good time and it'll bring more business to the downtown area.
Can I ask why you changed it to Saturdays?
So that we can get more
People?
people.
What? I have one little concern,
Sure.
and that's the street. And the biggest thing on a Saturday, you have such a main thoroughfare going to the mountains, back and forth. That's my concern. I visited with the chief a little bit about it. I don't know if we can overcome it. I just worry, with the food trucks getting parked in there, that it's gonna maybe create a little congestion. I don't know.
Right. Yeah,
That's my concern.
And I was-
I don't know what the council has.
I was wondering that as well. That's why I was thinking of not blocking down the street at all, just my parking spots. And just limiting it to, I think, what I measured out would be 3 or 4. I have to remeasure it again. As also depending on the size of the food trucks as well.
Yeah,
I thought about having them park in the town hall parking lot, but at the same time, I just don't want them to feel like they're kind of left out on an island and then having everyone else.
now, are you gonna utilize part of Shepherd's?
Yes, as long as if I get permission on this, then yes.
Okay,
Couldn't you park 2 in the back,
In the-
sideways in the back or not? Behind that little park?
in the alley?
Oh, well, no one would see them because that's our employee parking area too.
Oh,
But I mean, for the most part, I mean, I was looking at areas where people would have their booths. And I think that we have enough area along the sidewalk and in basically the 2 little park areas. It's just a matter of the food trucks down the street. And then we have one town garbage can on that side. I also will put out some garbage cans in front of my building. And then I've got a public restroom as well as the town public restroom across the street.
How would that affect parking for the businesses that are on that street on a Saturday that are open?
It would affect my parking, but I feel like if we're wanting to get more people downtown anyways, I feel like it would benefit everybody because people would be walking around, looking at all the stores. I'm starting communication with some of the businesses to see if they want to offer some specials on that during that time to try and share business with everyone. Grumpy's talked about maybe having $5 pizza slices, and then as long as this is approved, then I'm going to start talking to everybody else along the street.
Chief?
My biggest concern with food trucks there is just people stumbling out into the street and lack of visibility from being able to be seen.
Right.
So there's already traffic issues and concerns with pedestrians and vehicles there. With doing the food trucks towards the sidewalk and having
That's the
booths on
hospital.
sidewalk, will there be enough room for people and the food trucks?
Yes, so the booths, the bigger booths will be in the parks. Only tables will be on the sidewalk.
Okay,
That
so
way you still
just
have.
Smaller tables.
Mhm,
And
pedestrian.
closing the parking spots, I don't think it'd be an issue. We kind of set a precedence of allowing people on Bread Street to close down the parking spots in front of their businesses for other type events like this.
yeah.
Yeah, my biggest concern is just the visibility with food trucks there and people ending up in the street and increasing traffic coming across First Street to use the public restrooms in the town hall parking lot.
I think a suggestion from my side would be if I could to reduce the amount of, like, I don't want to have to bother anybody at town to cone off the area. So I can always pick up the cones and put them out myself, maybe Friday night, if it keeps people from parking there in the morning. But another thing I was thinking too was if the food trucks are parked along there, I could put the cones on the backside. Because I almost feel like with that, it's safer. Because right now, currently as Bridge Street is, it's like playing Frogger when you're trying to cross the street because of there's no visibility when you're standing in between the cars trying to peek and see who's crossing or not. So.
So my other question was, which you would answer, was how many food trucks would you get? Because I figured even the smallest food trucks can take at least 3 of those spots up.
Correct.
But then, since so many of them around here are trailers, we have to worry about how to line them up and get rid of the vehicles that are towing them to get them out of the way, so you can get more trucks in there also.
Correct. And so I will have it in my form with the vendors that they have to be parked by a certain time and also have their cars removed so that other trailers can park by.
Would you consider if we tried this for a couple of times and to see how safe it is and how it's gonna work? And then if we feel that it's totally unsafe, then we could renegotiate. Would something like that work? Because I understand what you're after. The more Saturday's usually the busier day, more people are downtown. It should affect all the businesses because people will see it walking around, but safety is the big concern, and I think if we, Chief, correct?
No, I
If
agree.
we tried it, for a couple of Saturdays to see, and get it well established, maybe it'll work. You may have to do a little extra patrol there.
Yeah, which we absolutely can do, make sure everything's going all right, but then it also, you get Shepherd's on board. I don't know if they use the realty office much on Saturdays at all, so you could probably get 3 trucks just over there in their parking lot area also.
Yeah,
And free up Bridge Street that way.
absolutely.
We have a comment from the audience.
Have you asked Andrea if you could put the food trucks in her parking lot?
I have not yet, just because I wanted to get permission for this first.
Okay. Just that way you're not in the street, but they're on the sidewalk still. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Just a suggestion.
For sure. No, I thought about that too. And then I've spoken to Brush Creek and the creamery there. And so they are also on board on selling their produce and their cheese and other items too. So.
They have some fantastic caramel. Council, what would you,
And are you just gonna do it like 3 times a year or what? What do you think?
so all Saturdays, yep, once a week, all Saturdays from June, July, and August. And then I'll also be opening back up the bake shop just for Saturdays during the summer as well.
Mr. Mayor, I like your idea. We do a trial first, maybe do a provisional acceptance now for covering June, and then we can readdress at the second June meeting, how it's gone and continue it from that point.
council? Okay.
Yeah,
Have you got a vegetable truck committed yet?
So the produce truck that we had last year, she's not able to come on Saturdays. So I'm trying to find other options and see what else we can do.
'Cause that's the big draw to that.
Correct, yes. That's why I was hoping, well, that's why I spoke to Brush Creek and they're going to try and make as many farmers markets as possible. And then I also, as an idea, but early in the season, I know it's not feasible, to maybe, if we don't have another produce truck, to have a produce swap. So a lot of us in town here have gardens, and so if you have too much rhubarb, maybe you can trade with someone who has too many tomatoes, and then we'll just have an area where everyone can have a produce swap.
Wasn't this all last year done in the town parking lot?
Yeah, it was
Right
out
here.
here. And they closed part of the street.
Yeah, last year we started on half of East First from in front of Town Hall or East Spring from Town Hall to First. And then we kind of moved into half of the Town Hall parking lot also by about halfway through the season.
Mhm.
Make more room for the food trucks and stuff.
Yeah.
And then Bree, who organized the farmer's market last year, she's also trying to pass it on because she has a food truck now. And so it's, there's a few of us on a chat thread trying to get this together. So the goal is for Saturdays, just because we're trying to get more traffic. And then with the location at Town Hall, that's not a problem. It's just the area that they were using on the grass, I believe, has been sold already, so we can't use that. this year.
Oh, across the street. Council. I like John's recommendation. Should we try it for a while and see how it turns out?
Yeah, we can try it.
if you promise not to beat us up if we have to change it.
Safety first. And
Do, I would entertain a motion to go ahead and we'll put this on a trial. Of at least 3 times to see.
I'd say try once and then decide what we're gonna do.
Just try it once,
Well, or three,
once or
I guess.
twice.
Twice brings us back to another council meeting, so.
Yeah,
Yeah, starting now, we'd have June 7th and 14th, and then the next council meeting, that would be on the 17th of June. So I give 2 Saturdays.
Yeah. I mean, they're complaining about parking and now we're blocking more parking.
and
Yeah,
so
we can try it and see how it works.
you want to put that in the form of a motion?
No, I'll make a motion.
Okay, well, motion's on the table to go ahead and try it for, first two Saturdays of June. And we expect a report back from you, and will that work for you?
Yes.
Till we see how it works out, make sure everything's safe. The biggest thing is it's such a busy street and everybody's going to the mountain
From the hospital.
and the hospital. Well, yeah, that is the route to the hospital too. One of the routes. Good. I have a motion on the table. Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We'll temporarily sign it then. Okay, thanks, Marie. Okay, we'll move on to any council comments. Okay, we'll move on to town hall, and we have ordinance 883, the 2025-2026 budget on the first reading. Ms. Brenda, would you read that by title, please?
Sure. Ordinance provide income necessary to finance 2025-2026 fiscal budget of the town of Saratoga, Carbon County, state of Wyoming. Be it ordained by the governing body of the town of Saratoga, Carbon County, Wyoming. One, the amount of general revenue necessary to be raised for municipal purposes and to meet current expenditures of the town of Saratoga, Carbon County, state of Wyoming during the fiscal year July 1st, 2025 to July 30th, 2026 is hereby fixed at the suitable levy of the town of Saratoga assessed valuation.
Are there any questions?
Okay.
I have one question.
Okay,
Police department's budget, does that include our projected expenses for the combined in this budget or as we normally do?
No, it has been moved. I don't know if you have the budget work wrap for us or breakdown sheet for that. It has been moved to a different line item. Well, now instead of just being under, because before it was basically a part of salaries, benefits, health insurance. Now it's been moved to the line of 911 communications. Because since that's a service that's going to be contracted out,
Okay.
not in-house anymore, that line item was always there, but not been increased from 24,000 to 140 something. I didn't actually find it.
45, wasn't it? 140. Yeah, 140.
Okay. That was the only question I had.
Yes, that's where that was moved.
Which we're still waiting on contract there. I have been in contact with Strickbach. Total anticipated expenditures of the general fund will be $5,060,251,092. So anyway, we'll move forward with that unless there's any additional questions. You have a motion to go ahead and pass ordinance number 883, the budget on its first reading. Go ahead and approve it on its first reading.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 883 on its first reading.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any additional discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Okay, we'll move on to the next item, which is a rotating Friday schedule. The ladies in the office approached me about changing their schedule through the summer months a little bit. There's a lot of towns in the state of Wyoming that are, the town halls are actually closed on Fridays. I didn't feel that was appropriate. So what we come up with, and Kyrie's reviewed this, it would be a policy that it'd be a rotating schedule. Every third Friday, one of the ladies the town hall will remain open 5 days a week. It's just that on Fridays, there'd only be one person here at the town hall, which Fridays are usually pretty slow from what I've seen, and the girls can attest to that. But to do that, we gotta open it up. So basically, you know, the salary people will have the option of working 40 hours a week, but they're still responsible for getting their 40 hours. So this may have to get reworded a little bit, but, that's what I felt. Each week, one designated employee will remain in the office from 8 till 5. And it's gonna run, basically, we set it up to run through, June, July, August, and September, with the option of reviewing it after that. But, Emery goes with his crews, go to 410. I think it'd be a good deal since summer months are short. People are taking vacation time anyway. This is what we come up with.
I say move them to 7 days a week.
No, we will not accept your resignation.
I'll be on your desk in the morning. But it's pretty spelled out. Kylie didn't have a problem with the policy
I mean, the reason we live here is
Enjoy
because
it.
of summers.
for the summers.
Yeah.
I, with keeping the town hall remained open 5 days a week, I think we're fine. So,
I don't see a problem with it.
any discussion from the public? Do I have a motion to go ahead and accept Saratoga Town Hall Friday coverage policy?
I would make the motion to accept Saratoga Town Hall Friday coverage policy.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any additional discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hey, ladies. I need a schedule now. Okay, thank you. Okay, we do have, next item is a job opening. Town hall custodian, Kelsey resigned a week ago, I believe. So I had Jim go ahead and post this advertisement, so. We will see what the candidates are. Probably let Karina and Brenda and Jen interview the candidates. We probably will add a little bit. John was wondering if we could get a couple hours twice a week over in the police department to vacuum and clean up. So anyway, we'll move forward with that. Okay, we have 2 invoices from Civic Plus. This is for our website. Yearly, this is yearly, correct? Karina?
This is the site that hosts all of the municipal codes and stuff.
Right.
The ordinances.
Yeah, it's part of our website.
Intermediates. Jen does all the minutes. It's the website and it does the minutes.
See that finally.
Each 29.
This is a yearly fee, right? Yeah.
That did increase. Hold on there.
Everything else has gone up.
29 and 30.
What?
How much did it go up?
Last year we paid $7,100.
So it went up by $400. Anyway. Any question? We can blame it on Maria, it's still in their name, so. Anyway, do I have a motion to go ahead and pay this invoice for $7,455?
I'd make the motion to pay the invoice.
It's actually two invoices that total that amount.
Okay.
Have a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Sit under town hall, we'll move to the police department.
Mr. Mayor, Council. In the 2 weeks since the last council meeting, actually our call volume's picking up quite a bit. We had 196 law calls in the last 2 weeks. We did have some complaints of issues down at the hot pools, so we have pretty well quadrupled our daily walkthroughs of the hot pools. We did have a couple violations noted. There's been some open container citations issued out of these extra patrols. For traffic's picked up. We've had 16 traffic citations and warnings issued in the past 2 weeks. To actually equally residents and tourists. I do have a request. This is my first item actually on the agenda. This is the ESU Pursuits for a new patrol truck. It'd be a 2024 Dodge Ram, 4-wheel drive. This is fully outfitted with everything. The only thing we add to it will be a radio. And we'd ship that to them. So actually upon delivery, the truck will be ready to go. Instead of other vehicles where we've gotten them and have to take about 6 months to get everything installed and them operational. Brand new truck, completely upfitted, comes to $62,309. This does include a new radar for traffic because all of our radars were hand-me-downs from Highway Patrol that we got probably 15, 16 years ago now. I think we were getting those in 2010 and 11 from them. And they're coming to end of life. We can no longer get parts to repair them. So we need to start phasing in some new radars to replace the old ones. So any new vehicles from here on out, I'm going to be asking for the radars to be included with their purchases. I do have money left over that we had budgeted out of impact funds out of this current budget. And with what was made on selling the 3 trucks at auction, that'll cover this. So we'd be able to take this out of this budget. And then if we do that, I'll actually be modifying my budget to remove the $60,000 that I was budgeting for in this next budget year for this said truck. Going through the books, we found we had enough money to cover it, so I'm going for it now.
Did a half-ton pickup?
It is, it's a Ram 1500. And they are, the Rams, this came in about $10,000 less than doing the F-150 Eco Turbo Pursuits. And with the way the prices are going, I'm leaning in the future going, other than for a possible K9 vehicle, be going back to pickups just for having the bed and the space for bicycles, animals, all that sort of stuff. And so that's one of the purposes of replacing this truck. We'll take the 2018 Silverado and make it the part-time spare truck. That way we do have a truck available for those things for all of us driving Explorers and Durangos that don't have room for carcasses and bicycles.
I think when we dump them at the end, they'll sell better too, but
Correct.
we're more apt to buy a used pickup than a Durango or
Or a Ford Explorer.
Yeah.
Which I found the hard way to not have much ground clearance.
Yeah.
How long did it take them?
They already have the truck on the lot. They said up to 90 days, but they expect 30-day delivery. Their biggest holdup has just been getting stuff through with the tariffs and everything, is what they said. But otherwise, most of the equipment they'll have, I think the only thing they have to get for it, the only thing they'll order is our graphics kit, which they'll install, and then I added onto this truck, instead of the toolboxes that we've been doing, this is actually the decked in-bed drawer system, which seals a little bit better than the toolboxes do, as everyone knows it has one, and everything gets dirty and wet inside of those. So yeah, they say 90 days, but they figured 30 to 45 tops.
How many miles are on the other pickup?
118,000-ish, which we got used in 2021-ish to Silverado 1,500.
And it's not even amount of hours, it's amount or
Miles.
Yeah,
hours.
Idle hours, yeah.
Sure,
You average-
plenty.
Yeah, with the idle hours that go onto law enforcement vehicles, 100,000 miles equals 200,000 of engine wear. Plus.
What would the council like to do? We have the money. It's coming out of impact.
Yes, I believe it was
That
all, impact plus the sales of the other trucks from this year.
Been earmarked for that.
I'd say move ahead with it. We have to keep them mounted good.
Want to put that in the form of a
I
motion?
would make a motion to move ahead and buy this Dodge Ram.
Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay,
All right, thank you. I'll work on getting an invoice tomorrow for Trina to send a check. And then on the agenda, it looks like the next item says dispatch longevity. I'm not quite sure what that was.
okay. On this, if we go ahead, we set up the longevity pay last year with all the employees, you know,
No idea.
if they're here a year, they get longevity pay. Since we're the reason dispatch is leaving, because we're moving, I would like to go ahead and pay these individuals their longevity pay. It will be prorated because normally it runs to,
September.
yeah. So we would have to prorate it because it'll no longer be there, but they will get a portion of their longevity pay. That, since we're the reason dispatch is no longer there, they should receive their longevity pay. I mean, we're doing away with it. So that was my idea, to bring to the council, but it's up to you guys to vote on it. Karina had the breakdown on it, comes up to a little over $6,000.
Less than 7, I can't.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact amount.
Because we have two dispatchers, that'd be at the base rate for the longevity.
Yes,
One's at about 6 years and the other one's actually 18 years.
yeah. So,
And are either one of these transferring to Rollins?
they have applications in, some of them do.
One has been offered a job at Rollins Police Department. Another one has applied, at least one I know of for sure has applied with the county.
Yeah.
So,
I'm for it.
you want to put that in the form of a motion? Please.
Well, we discussed this. I'll make a motion to pass this.
Okay, I have a motion on the table to go ahead and prorate the dispatchers, longevity pay. If and when we do a combined dispatch. Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second
All in favor?
it. Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
All right, it's everything I have. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John. Okay, we'll move on to the fire department. I talked with James. He had nothing to report. They're working on their budget. They may come to us to purchase some hose to outfit one of the trucks from this budget rather than carry it into next year's budget. They have spent very little money in their budget. So that's all I have on that. We'll move on to the recreation department, Mr. Bub.
Nothing new to report. We don't have another meeting until June.
Okay,
And that will be on, I know they changed it, June 9th here at the town hall at 6.
okay. Move on to you, Mr. Carter.
Okay, first thing I have is kind of a correction from last council. Jacoby Mirich, her pay scale will be 21 rather than $20 per hour.
We voted on 20
Yes. So you will need to vote on,
and to match the pay scale, this is where the 21 comes.
yes.
Does council want to correct that?
Yes.
I have a motion to go ahead and correct that.
I would make a motion to go ahead and correct that hourly wage.
To $21 an
20.
hour.
Yes.
And this would be for Jacoby marriage. Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Okay, next thing I have is an additional PFOB point of entry for the weight room. I know last year they added one of those to the outside building, allows you in the building. Basically, it's gonna be another entry point so I can register who's going into the weight room or vice versa, who's letting who into the weight room, because I've had several underage kids that shouldn't be in there when they're not with a parent, any of the above.
So how are they getting in now? You just open the door?
The door code that there's probably 5 different door codes that I know. I don't know how many more there are. I don't have a book to change the door codes. So it's basically a free for all at this point. And my idea of moving away from the door code is because somebody could give it to anybody, really.
So now when you give somebody a P-Bob, you'll note that it has the weight room access too?
Yeah, so it'll just be added onto the current system we have that allows them entry into the building from 5 AM to 9 PM. And that tags them and it breaks down to who's accessing that entry point. And it'll just be the same thing for the weight room.
So basically, we need to purchase another,
Bob location.
the same key.
Yeah, it's gonna be the same fob, everybody's fob, like,
It's just a new,
yeah, new entry point.
This is the reader block. At the launch.
Yes.
question?
How much is it?
It's $1,715. You got it in your budget?
I sure do.
I don't have a problem with it. I have a motion to go ahead and pay, allow Carter to go ahead and purchase another locking station for the weight room in the amount of $1,715.
I'd make a motion to move ahead with it.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Okay, last 2 things I have. First one would be to hire my 4th and final cashier. Young lady by the name of Koya Roberts. Be at the same rate as every other cashier, $13 an hour.
Do I have a motion to go ahead and hire Koya Roberts for a cashier at the swimming pool?
I'll make a motion to hire her.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
It'll be it. I need to amend that motion to $13 per hour.
Yes.
You so amend?
Yes, I'll amend my motion to $13 an hour for,
Do I have a second on the amended motion?
Second.
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Next thing is the hiring of Krista Davenport as the pool manager for the upcoming pool season at $22.
And is she just gonna work for the summer just as the pool manager? She won't.
Yep. She teaches, she's a para at the high school and looking for some work for the summer. And Megan and I met with her yesterday.
And
Both agreed this would be a good move.
well, we need a pool manager. We have somebody to teach swimming lessons now, so.
Right.
I have a motion to go ahead and hire Christina Davenport, pool manager at $22 per hour.
I'll make the motion to hire Christina Davenport for pool manager at $22 an hour.
Do I have a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Anything else? How's it going over there? Yes.
Press question, when does the pool open?
Well, currently weather permitting, we're shooting for June 1st.
It is full of water, correct?
It is full of water.
Cold water?
It's pretty cold.
I would imagine.
But it looks beautiful. Go take a look at it. Yeah, we got a few things left over there to do, but get them done by June 1st.
It looked good.
Yeah, it does. It looks a lot better. Outside of that, softball registration is open for the second season of softball, co-ed softball.
Which is longer this year, isn't it?
Yeah, it's about 6 weeks. Yeah, so that's about it.
Are you branching out?
Oh, yeah.
Are you? Good, good,
Already have interest from folks in encampment.
good deal.
Yep. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Carter.
Okay, we'll move on to Department of Public Works, Mr. Emery.
Okay, number 22 and 23 here. These are the final versions of the sewer and water ordinances. Not requesting we do any readings or anything tonight. I just wanted to kind of introduce the final versions and go over a few things that were addressed with them. On the water ordinance, things that we looked at is clarifying is, where does ownership of the lines start? We want that illicitly stated. We added several definitions. We clarified some definitions. Clarified when mainline extensions are required. And then we also clarified what you have to do when you install a new subdivision. How do we address putting water into accessory buildings? That was addressed in there. We did separate the fee for hooking up to the water system into a tap fee, which is the main to the meter, and then a connection fee, which is the meter pit itself. And so this means existing service lines would only pay a connection fee. And then we also implemented an impact fee for new subdivisions that each lot would pay before we accepted the main lines. The concept behind this is that these would help take in revenue on these services that aren't producing revenue, why they sit there in lieu waiting to get developed. Also, the way that's structured is once that impact fee is paid, you don't pay the tap fee, you would just pay the connection fee. We also formatted the water ordinance to be congruent with the sewer ordinance, so the same parts are in each one. You're not looking for, in connections, the same material and topics are covered over here in the sewer as well. So they were pretty incongruent. There was a lot of stuff in one section over here for the water, and it was in a completely different topic section for the sewer. So we did reformat those to make those a little bit more congruent. I think that a lot of gray areas that we've had to deal with, have addressed and cleaned up in the water ordinance. So I would encourage you guys to review them. I think they printed a little upside down and backwards in the packet, so I can get you guys full-size copies, and please take a look at them. The sewer ordinance, we did all the same things we did with the water ordinance. The things that we did clean up that were different from the water ordinance. The billing was a little bit hard to do with places that had mixed uses like commercial and residential. So we added some definitions and some language in there to address that. And then we also added a table to give us some billing guidance on what we do with places that only have sewer instead of water. We've always based the sewer bill in some aspect off of what the water usage has been, or we have a few places that don't have a water, and numbers have been derived really, we don't know how, I guess. So we've corrected that and added this table in. That's a pretty congruent way to do things. A lot of places nationwide use an equivalent dwelling unit table. So I think that'll be helpful in the future. The Joint Powers Board guys spent a lot of time on this. I've spent a lot of time on this. we will pass it, and then in a year, we will find out things that we missed. That's how it will go. But this is a good improvement. I think it's a lot more workable for us as we move forward.
I have a quick question on the subdivisions. You're gonna charge a what fee?
So they're calling it an impact fee. So essentially, like, if you come in, you say you did 20 lots, you pay basically what it turns out to is about half of the old tap fee. You pay $1,000 per lot up front for these services, and then the developer would install them to the property line. But then when you go to hook up to them, there's no tap fee at that point. You just pay to have the meter put in.
I see.
But the concept behind that is we could have, 20 services in there after we accept that system that we're responsible for that are producing zero revenue. And, if we have a subdivision that gets developed quickly, it's not a big issue, but say you have somebody put it in and we sit on 10 lots, 10 services for, 7 or 8 years.
But they're not making money off it while it's sitting either. They're not selling the lots and they got the money into it.
Right. And that's the catch.
Yeah,
Right. Like that.
not being used, so why should we be making money off?
Well, just because that's degrading as over time. The idea is that services is degrading over time. Or it springs a leak or something like that. So yeah, that's all. I mean, there's no action we take this.
Okay, well, thanks for the update on that, Emery. We'll read through them.
A couple other public works things that I did hand off to you guys on a parks note, the design for the bathroom that the Evergreen Dwellings came up with. That's one we're gonna move forward with. Just kind of review it. We did add, it's a smaller footprint, but we did redesign the inside to have multiple, like the women's has 2 stalls and a sink. One's ADA accessible, one isn't. The family restroom is ADA accessible, has a baby changing station in it. And then the men's has a stall and a urinal. So we tried to, maximize the amount of usage we could get out of it. And these guys did a good job of making everything fit and still making it ADA. And it will have twice as much of a usability out of it. And we're estimating it's going to come in probably about the same or even a little bit less than what it was going to cost to bring in just a 2-stall precast one. As we know, construction prices are kind of up in the air right at the moment. But so that'll go in. WLC is going to put that in the bid package, and we'll have that for you guys to review. We've got the grant funding and the impact funding will work together to cover that. We've got the money on hand. We planned historically to go through with that. I think it'll be a nice addition over there. And then since the design's done, if we ever want to build another one, we've got specs we can, in the future, we want to add one somewhere else. It'd be very handy to have on hand. And everything, if it can't be purchased in Carbon County, we're not going to use it. So we did catch the first specs I got had the metal toilets and metal sinks, and no, we're gonna go back to porcelain. We're not. Had too many issues trying to find parts for these precast bathrooms, and they're ridiculously expensive. So it's simple and replaceable. Sewer, the lift station is functional. We're just doing cleanup up there. We've got a meeting tomorrow about the TAP grant. With everybody involved in part of the year on that. We're gonna have a meeting with the state the following week. So we want, us, the school, Joe, Carter, this whole corridor up here, that all of us that are kind of on Elm Street, we'll mash up tomorrow about that path project from there. So when the state comes down, we're all on the same page, and we can put on a good showing and a well-informed meeting with them. Well, those are kind of the big things we're looking at right now. We did also replace some of the picnic tables up at Kathy Glode. We had some vinyl covered metal ones at the shop that have been there for years and years and years, and they were in good shape. And so we took some of the old wooden ones out and replaced those up there. They look pretty good and sliver free.
That's handy.
Is there public works questions?
Looks like the boys are pretty busy,
Yeah, we're
fixing to get busier.
yeah, the list is thickening. So if we want, we can move on to the planning commission and take care of item 24. emailed that out. I hope everybody got it. I'll run through real quick. Over on Fourth Street, there's a house over there that has a garage where about 2.6 feet of it is existing into Fourth Street. They currently have a revocable license agreement with the town for that small strip of land. It's not transferable to the property owner if they sell it. Obviously, people want to be able to have that document move with them as the home changes possession. Reached out to Kylie. This was an easement she had drafted up to basically replace that license, and the easement would just kind of run with the property. I don't know why they did the license agreement, why it was done that way originally. We have easements for storm drains, things have been done with easements historically. I don't understand why it was done that way. I don't think there's any harm in us proceeding with this easement with the same size of piece that the license was. We have utilities in that corridor there. I wouldn't want to vacate it, but
On Fourth Street's not a through street either.
no, and that's the only thing I can kind of ponder in my head is that
Used to be years ago, it did run between the school and the football.
But it never crossed the ditch, so
Mm-mm.
yeah, and it's
it went to the alley.
a push to get up. I mean, I could see maybe if you thought for some reason you was going to really develop that and you want a room to put a sidewalk or something right there, but I don't see that.
I don't either.
I mean, I believe they were good. The other party's good with, correct?
The what?
The easement.
Yeah.
I said the other party, I haven't been aware that anybody's had on the other end is okay with it.
Yeah, nope, everybody's fine.
Okay,
Yeah, everybody's fine with it, because right now, I mean, it's transferred to, it went from probate to transfer to the probate. So. This is why we found that.
Questions? I don't have an issue with it, leading the council. Do I have a motion to go ahead and pass this pre-uptual inclusive grant easement?
I'd make a motion to pass this easement.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. I'll try to get that signed and notarized tomorrow. You bet.
okay, number 25, we had another variance application get submitted to the Planning and Zoning Commission. This was for a garage up in the overlook. They went through all the variance criteria, did a very more thorough review of it, went through each criteria and essentially voted and made a commission stance on where they thought this would fall as it pertains to each criteria. They found that it only met 5 out of the 8 of the criteria, and they are difficult to meet. As I said in the memo, though, after that determination was made, they did not make a determination to approve the variance. It wasn't recommended for approval, but later on in the meeting, one of the commission members and McCall and myself had kind of brought forth the topic of accessory buildings, which kind of pertains to this. And we had a conversation, kind of what we're seeing and things that have happened historically. The accessory building setbacks are not very workable for a lot of properties in town. And we see that, and this process, going through this variance process with the last 2 or 3, and then this one coming up, let's look at making some amendments that make this more workable, not just for one property owner on a variance, but if there's changes that need to be made that benefit everybody, that aren't going to change the community, let's do that. Let's not just all a variance, this or that. Let's make a change that works.
To the zoning.
Yes, to the ordinance. So we basically ended up with, at the end of the night, I'm gonna draft up something that basically reduces a lot of those restrictions, clarifies a few things, and then At the next meeting, we'll review it and try to get, forward with a public hearing, take some comments, make any adjustments. Like to move through this kind of sooner rather than later, because we got a lot of existing buildings that have been built with variances, without variances. Essentially, those are all non-conforming, but they don't seem to be a problem. So if we change it, open that up a little bit, make some code changes, those would be conforming, which is a benefit. We have garages that I'm sure will get proposed in the future that will not be a problem. What will not be allowed as it's written currently. So that's our move away from this process. It's very hard to juggle and actually, you're not going to get a lot of things that actually really fit the variance criteria the way they're written. But if we're seeing these uses that people are not concerned with and are okay with allowing their neighbors to do, let's change the code so everybody can just do them.
Yeah.
And then if one burns down, they can fix it and build it back up. People have existing ones that are not conforming, maybe could be conforming, issues off the table for them. So I think that was a really fruitful conversation. I think we've got some action steps. But we still have to deal with the application that's on the table.
Yeah.
Well, I personally think that we ought to accept the planning commission's recommendation and move forward with getting some of this changed where, the setbacks and everything where it is more workable and feasible, and then we'll quit getting a variance for everything we turn around on.
Yeah, I mean, it's not gonna be the end all to be all, but I think there's a large chunk of things that just making some simple changes in the code could help.
Yeah.
And we can see what the public says about it,
Yeah,
By
I mean, it's not
holding a
like,
public hearing.
and that's part of the process.
Yeah,
And
so the chair would entertain a motion to go ahead and accept the planning commission's recommendation. This would be denying the variance.
I'd make a motion to go ahead.
Accept the planning commission.
Yes, except what the planning commission said, yeah.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay.
Okay, moving on to 26, this is our third and final reading of the ordinance adjusting the fees for the applications, variances, subdivisions, et cetera, et cetera. Brenda, did you want to read that? Just the title.
No, just the title.
Town of Saratoga ordinance number 882, and ordinance amending title 15, chapter 15.04, section 15.04080, as well as title 18, chapter 18.72, section 18.72.010 D of the Town of Saratoga Municipal Code concerning building permit application fees, as well as planning and zoning application and permit fees, and to provide an effective date. Whereas the town council, as well as the mayor of the Town of Saratoga, has determined that in the best interest of its residents, that the above mentioned town code sections be amended. Section, at title 15, chapter 15.04, section 15.04080, permits application fee shall be amended.
That's the whole title, Brenda.
Is that okay?
Do I have a motion to go ahead and pass ordinance number 882, title 1518, application fees on the third and final reading?
I'll make a motion to pass ordinance 882, title 15-18, application fee on its final reading.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, for the newspaper and everybody, you can obtain a copy of what the fees will be, if so interested, from tomorrow at the town hall.
Thank you.
So it'll be posted.
Well, we gotta publish it in this.
Yeah, it'll be published in the paper, but if you want them earlier, they're available. Okay,
Okay. I will say we were, we talked about this Title 18 and trying to make some adjustments and covered that with the memo debrief. That's at the top of the list is looking at the accessory buildings. So
good deal.
that's what we'll be doing at the next meeting. Water and Sewer Joint Powers Board, we just kind of went over that. A couple of fine tooth things at the last meeting on the sewer ordinance. Talked about a couple of bigger, possible projects coming up with the West Bench Sewer Project up on the hill. We're about done with that, so we'll have some docs and stuff for you guys to review, hopefully here in the next couple of weeks. You guys can look at them. We also talked about kind of maybe streamlining some billing stuff, how we do things with them and us, and we are talking to the accountant and Tim, and hopefully gonna make some improvements in that area and eliminate.
Will we have to change our bylaws on that?
No.
No.
So just we do kind of we pay, they pay around this circle thing, right? And I think it'd be easier if we could smooth that out. So we're having that conversation. Right now too, that took up probably most of the time.
It's caused some confusion and discussion because they pay something and then we have to pay them back. So why don't we just pay the invoice? It's basically what it boils down.
I mean, that's all I got on my powers board.
Any questions for Emery? Okay, we'll move on to.
Thanks, Emery.
Yep.
The Assistant Clerk and the Saratoga Airport Advisory Board.
Oh, can I?
One thing.
I was gonna say that Public Works, we will have some guys here in the next couple of weeks over here patching on River Street, and we're looking at chip sealing June 3rd and 4th. And right now.
Okay. Okay. He already
He
gave his
skipped it.
report.
Yep.
There wasn't too much. Jesse went over the 2025, 2026 fiscal year budget with the board, got that all worked out and got it back to clean up. Blake Gearhart said he'll also do the landscaping. He's doing the sign, but he's gonna also do the landscaping. He's doing the memorial, the base for the memorial for Shiveley. There was discussion about a policy for gophers and the problem with the tumbleweeds out there. I'm trying to come up with a plan for that. The engineers updated about the master plan. They're waiting for an aerial survey to be completed before they can move forward with that. And the landing fees for April were $23,050 and they had 206 flight operations. Okay.
Are the landing fees down, up, holding their
He said
own?
they were a little bit lower in April.
A little
But
bit?
he's not concerned, like, he wasn't concerned or anything, just a little bit. He said there was a lot of really windy days that people couldn't fly.
Any questions about the Airport Advisory Board? Okay, well, we have somebody here from the South Central Wyoming Emergency Medical Service. Do you have an update for us?
Sure.
Great.
So we met last night in Elk Mountain. We recognized a lot of our volunteers. And then we also passed our budget for the second reading. And this is my 7th year with the board. And my term is coming up and I just found someone to replace me. And so I will have that person come to the next meeting.
Oh, great.
And that is Steve Martin.
Good.
Okay. Took a minute to, okay, that'd be good.
Not the comedian.
Not the actor.
And then our next meeting is June 16th at 6 PM in Saratoga.
Okay. What are you gonna do with your free time?
Oh, there's so many other things.
Well, we don't have a lot to do with the ambulance board, but we thank you for your time and what you've done.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, is there any new business to be brought before the town? Any further business? Do I have a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I'll make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?